The Jacksonville Jaguars' relatively short time as an NFL team has been, well, unremarkable. The team was established in the mid-1990s and initially had some success, but since then they've lost far more games than they've won. To this day, they remain one of only 4 NFL franchises that have never played in a Super Bowl. Off the field though, the Jaguars are punching above their weight. Despite being ranked as the 24th most valuable team out of 32 in the NFL, the growth of the team's brand outside the United States has left the rest of the league in their dust. The NFL's International Series for the 2025-26 season saw the Jags play their 14th regular season game outside the US, more than any other team by a considerable margin. So how do they do it? The NFL's International Series began in its current form in 2007 with the first London game at Wembley Stadium.
And in a few days' time will be the first venue outside the US to hold a proper league game of American football.
For the next 5 years, a single game was held in London, with many NFL owners still sceptical about sacrificing revenue from home games in a market dominated by the Premier League. That changed in 2012 when new Jaguars owner Shad Khan signed a 4-year deal to play one home game a season in London. Since then, the deal has been extended multiple times, and the Jaguars have become the city's unofficial home team, despite Jacksonville being more than 4,000 miles away. London has now become the NFL's most profitable road game. The league rewarded the Jaguars for Khan's gamble with one of the most unique deals in the NFL, giving the team complete revenue control over its international games. That means they're responsible for selling tickets, merchandise, concessions, everything. Jacksonville's commitment has paid off, with estimates that the team generates up to $50 million for each London game. For the NFL, the Jaguars have been the torchbearer for international expansion. The deal illustrates the league's commitment to a long-term global growth strategy. The NFL's international schedule has expanded since 2007, from one game in London to a record 7 regular season games overseas in 2025-26, including, for the first time, games in Germany, Spain, and Ireland. To understand the NFL's international expansion better, I went to Dublin in the days leading up to the game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I spent time with fans, spoke to key stakeholders in Ireland, and met with the NFL team in charge of putting the event together to find out how overseas games work financially and logistically for the host city, the league, the teams, and the fans.
Just through the post.
Peter, this is the first regular season NFL game in Ireland. How long has this been in the planning?
And this has been a long time in the making. It was kind of a glimmer in a lot of people's eye. And now to be here and feel the energy, especially with the Steelers here and all of their long history in Ireland, this is a very special one. I think it's been that idea on the whiteboard for many, many years. But over the last 3 or 4 years, as we've started to expand the number of games that we've had the opportunity to play outside the US, or as we've really zeroed in, and 2025 was the year we marked, and here we are.
We are a sports-mad city, and as you can see here from Dublin Castle, what you see across the streets of Dublin at the moment, a city that's ready, a city that's alive, and a city that's excited for the weekend.
This is my first overseas NFL game. I've never seen an international Vikings game, so I'm super excited for it.
This is the famous Temple Bar in downtown Dublin, and it's swarming with NFL fans, Vikings fans, Steelers fans. They're all here for a week's jolly, and they're loving it. And they love the fact that the NFL is overseas for the first time here in Ireland. And how excited are you?
I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to my kids getting here on Thursday. We're all going to the game. It would be fun.
Hi guys, you here for the NFL on Sunday?
Yeah, we are.
Vikings or Steelers?
Steelers.
Steelers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So you're going to go and head over to the Steelers pub in a minute?
Oh, there's a Steelers pub.
That one down there. Are you here for the NFL?
No, we're not.
No, okay. No, not here for the NFL. So, not everyone here is going to watch the NFL game. Excuse me, sir. How long have you been a Steelers fan for?
Oh, I can't tell
So
you.
you're a Viking. You're not a.
No, I'm not a Viking. I'm a Steeler fan.
Okay, I just wanted to check. The NFL is a juggernaut. When you compare its financial power to other leagues across the world, it blows it out of the water. So when the NFL comes to your town, you know about it. The National Football League made an extensive investment in promoting the Dublin game. In addition to installing an NFL-themed fountain in the River Liffey, the league's takeover of the city was visible everywhere, with flags and team banners flying throughout Dublin. Along with the fan experience at Dublin Castle, there were 9 other free fan events and locations across the city. The Steelers and Vikings each had their own pub, and at Dublin City Hall, the NFL hosted a Super Bowl gallery featuring all 59 Super Bowl rings and the Vince Lombardi Trophy, the iconic sterling silver award presented annually to the Super Bowl champions.
Dublin is no stranger to events like this. We had big US college football here in August that weekend, and that week the excitement was palpable, and I expect the same over the next 3 or 4 days here in town. And like you can see, I was crossing the Liffey last night heading to an event in my own district, and you could see the numbers of American tourists here, the number of sports fans here, and like you can see Dubliners now getting involved and getting into it.
There has been some criticism about the fact that a lot of the fans that will be coming to the game on Sunday are coming from the US, or they're expats, American expats living in London or in Dublin. How do you balance those financial incentives for the local community with actually growing the sport, growing American football?
Yeah, it's interesting. The vast majority of our international games have been attended by local, our game earlier this year in Brazil, 98% Brazilians. They may not have been from São Paulo, but they may have traveled from throughout Brazil. A London or Germany game, the vast majority, under 10% US. This game is actually a little unique, where you've got a third of the fans coming over because of the magic of Dublin, the Steelers relationship. But we see it as a great balance. I think great for this local community, the economic impact of people traveling in, not only from the US and Europe, but you'll have a lot of Irish fans in that stadium on Sunday who likely have never experienced an NFL game live and can fall in love with the sport and the entertainment and a team on the field.
A big part of the NFL is the merchandise that they sell, and to do that they've set up this pop-up shop in the heart of Dublin, and they've got Steelers fans and Vikings fans all piling in to buy their team's jerseys, but also the other 30 teams are represented. So not only are they making lots of money, but they're also growing the brand. While the NFL doesn't disclose financials, market research firm Grandview estimated that North America's football merch market generated $3.3 billion in revenue in 2024, and it's projected to hit $4.6 billion by 2030.
So we are in what we call our Center City NFL shop in Dublin. This is something that gets brought together. We try to do this around all of our international games. We know that our fans are very hungry for merchandise. Really giving them the full physical experience to come in and shop is something that we love to do around our games. One of our top sellers, and I'd say this collection in general is what does the best. It is our game day collection. So what we do is once we have a city announced, and then we get the matchup known, we really start thinking about, okay, how do we bring that to life from a merchandise perspective? So you can see here from like a matchup hoodie, we've taken like the Irish colors and infused them. So this is a very specific Vikings, Steelers with their theme incorporated for the game. And then we apply that across a variety of products. We know that people want something to really commemorate the moment of being here. Merchandise in general is a key part of all of our games. So of course what we have at Stadium, and then how we actually, as I'm sure as you've gone around the city, you've seen that the NFL does a full city takeover. And the merchandise has to be a part of that because we know that fans want to be able to show their colors, show who they support, show their love for the NFL, and giving them that access and then that true experience to walk through a full-on NFL shop is really important to us.
Why do you think NFL merch sells so well?
I like to believe that NFL fans are by far the most passionate and they want to show their fandom in unique ways. I think the NFL in general, whether it's through our global partners or local collaborations that we're doing, does a really great job of having product that caters to both the fans and from a fashion perspective. It's a product that you would wear on game day to support your team. And then also we have a great collection of product that you would just wear in everyday life.
So there's a huge financial reason for creating a pop-up shop like this, but also how much of that is also about brand awareness?
Absolutely. Everything that we do from a product and merchandise and licensing standpoint is equally to drive revenue as it is to build fandom for our avid fans that want to be able to support their team.
Along with the NFL fan shop, the league's marketing push even extended to two teams that weren't playing. The Kansas City Chiefs and Green Bay Packers each took over bars in the city centre as both hold marketing rights in Ireland. It's all part of the NFL's Global Markets Programme, the strategic engine behind the league's international expansion.
The Global Markets Program is an opportunity for every NFL club to gain marketing rights in a certain country around the world. Right now we have all 32 NFL clubs that have rights in at least one country around the world, and that spans 21 different countries. And it basically allows, in addition to the league, who is active in these markets, a club to come in, market to fans, engage with partners, and fandom is about having a favorite team, and this allows that connection to become that much deeper. The Steelers in Ireland are a great example of that. The league can do their efforts, the Steelers can come in very authentic ways and connect with fans and create events and opportunities.
And does that also tie in with where these teams will be playing their games overseas?
Typically, we would look to align a club that has rights in a market and have them play there. The complexity of NFL schedule making doesn't always allow that, but in this case, the Steelers are here and the Vikings are off to play again next week in London. They have rights in London, so that's an example of back-to-back weeks where you have clubs with rights playing in a market that works for them.
The Global Markets Programme launched in January 2022 with 18 teams participating. In line with their long-term commitment to playing games in London, the Jacksonville Jaguars' first assigned market was the United Kingdom. Teams with geographical, cultural or historical ties to a country were often granted rights in those territories. For example, the Arizona Cardinals have proximity to Mexico, and Miami has a large Hispanic community, so the Dolphins hold rights in Spain. The New Orleans Saints, a city with historical connections to France, were the first club to select and be awarded the French market. In 2023, marketing rights for the Republic of Ireland were awarded to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. For the Steelers, who already held rights in Mexico, Ireland was an obvious choice. The Rooney family, the team's majority owners, traced their roots to Ireland, where their ancestors emigrated from in the 1840s before eventually settling in Pittsburgh. Art Rooney founded the team in 1933, and those ties to Ireland have remained strong through charity, culture and even politics, with Dan Rooney, Art's son, serving as US ambassador to Ireland in 2009. The Irish government sees the country's connection to the Rooney family and the Pittsburgh Steelers as an opportunity it wants to capitalise on. As part of the agreement to host the game, officials committed €10 million in public funding, half as a licence fee paid to the NFL and the other half for transportation security and venue arrangements. For Patrick O'Donovan, Ireland's Minister for Culture, Communications and Sport, the upside of hosting the game and securing a long-term place on the NFL's expanding international schedule was too strong to pass up.
One of the first things I did after becoming Minister for Culture, Communications and Sport was to agree the government's involvement with bringing NFL to Dublin for the first time. So it's a collaboration between NFL and the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Gaelic Athletic Association and the Government of Ireland.
And for it to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, the home team on Sunday, how special is that, do you think, for the Irish fans?
The Rooneys and the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming home, literally. And that's a lovely thing. Ambassador Rooney was the US ambassador here to Ireland and had a great legacy, made an awful lot of friends. So for his family and for the next generations that have come after him, this is something that they can take a huge amount of pride in.
You're on the one hand trying to grow the game for, new American football fans, but also there's the financial incentives that mass tourism for the event has. How do you balance the two of those things?
Well, there's a third element as well, which is participation, because flag football comes with it. And the NFL have been very keen to work with our primary school network all over Ireland to make sure that kids get an opportunity to get, through their teachers, a set into every school that'll introduce the school to flag football.
We know that you don't get anything for nothing, and there has been some criticism that you have invested quite a lot of money to host this game to the tune of €10 million. What do you say to people that say, are Irish taxpayers getting a good return on that investment?
Well, to the people who said that, more people went in to buy tickets for this event than any other event that Croke Park has hosted. And there's always naysayers, but I think the people who are positively enthused about the reputation of the island of Ireland, our relationship with the United States of America, growing sport, the television audience, which will be in the tens of millions that will see this, not to mention the potential that's going to come out of it, the diplomacy that comes out of it. This is going to be a really bumper weekend for Dublin and for Ireland, and it'll leave a very long legacy. And the monies that we're putting in from the government will be very small in compared to the return that Ireland Inc. makes from this.
Fulcher Island, the country's tourism development authority, projects that the event will generate an estimated €64 million in additional economic activity for Ireland. For the NFL, the international series is about more than just making money.
It's really less about the financials around the game itself. Obviously, these games are profitable, but the games, we see them as a pebble drop. You drop a pebble, it ripples out well beyond the game itself. And if we are only coming in and playing a game, or the circus coming to town, that's not going to be effective. This is around coming to a market, playing a game, and then creating year-round commitment, opening offices, creating flag football in schools, building media partnerships. So it's about the long game and being patient and introducing fans and being relevant and frankly humble, knowing that we've got a lot to learn and a lot to do.
This year is going to be a record year for the number of NFL games overseas. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a good thing? Would you like to see more overseas games?
I absolutely love it. The NFL, it needs to grow globally because obviously I travel all around the world. I've been to 6 different continents. Nobody likes the NFL. When you say football, people are thinking about soccer. Nobody likes the NFL around the world. We got to grow this game. It's a beautiful game. Not to steer from soccer. It is not the beautiful game, but it is a beautiful game. And I'm loving to see the expansion all around the world so everybody else can enjoy it just as much as we do in America.
Is there any concern amongst NFL fans that your games are being played outside of your hometown?
I don't think so. I think it's mainly seen as a win-win, right? Like, it's cool for the fans to be able to go over and see it, but also our football is pretty isolated in the big fan outreach, and I think a lot of opportunity for growth for the league there.
It's good for the sport, expanding it overseas. Like, I know I was here last year, and football here is known for a different sport, but for this football to come overseas, to come to Spain, to Germany, to London, to Ireland now, it's really good for the sport and the fan base as a whole.
Toward the north of the city sits the venue for the game, Croke Park. The stadium could hold around 82,000 people, but that figure included standing-only areas. For the NFL matchup, capacity was reduced to 75,000 to allow for additional seating. The NFL also looked at Dublin's other major venue, Aviva Stadium, which has previously hosted US college games. The league assessed everything from the size of the 2 pitches to whether the locker room capacity could be adapted to accommodate each team's roster of roughly 50 players plus staff. So the Steelers players will be in their locker room underneath the stadium for the game and then pour out of this tunnel. They've just put the lining on for the Pittsburgh Steelers for their tunnel, and it's all happening out here. Practicing the audio, thankfully not at the moment. When you come out here, you see the scale of an operation like this, and to host a game like the NFL takes weeks to put it together. For an NFL game, what are the unique challenges of putting on an event like that?
I think whenever you take a game like ours and you put it into a stadium that isn't built for an NFL game, there are challenges. We start with the game itself. You got to get the core right. You got to get the football right. So it starts with the field. Is the pitch long enough? Is it wide enough? If it's not, we're going to have to put a new pitch in. Locker rooms. If you think about the size of an NFL team and you think about the size of the players of an NFL team, I don't think there's a stadium in Europe that's got a locker room that's going to be big enough for that size of team. So we've got to come in and we've got to break walls and we've got to install new showers and toilets and everything that you need to build an NFL locker room and try to figure it out in a stadium that isn't purpose-built for football. So every stadium's different, every stadium's unique, every stadium gives you different opportunities, and it's just trying to figure out how to do it.
So look at all this ribbon board up here. It's all new.
Wow.
So we work with Croke Park and put in an all-new ribbon board. So
wow. That operation to do that must have taken...
It is, but it's to the benefit of Croke.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, what? So that'll stay in place?
They'll stay in place permanently.
So you've done it for...
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we work with the Croke team and we work together installing that. We put in all new fiber into the stadium. So it's upgraded all the fiber in here. It's upgraded all the Wi-Fi in here as well. So when other events come to Croke, they'll be able to tap into it. Right? So it now makes Croke this destination that other people can say, let's go to Croke. Hey, they do a great job bringing a lot of people here.
But that's a long-lasting investment.
That's a long-lasting investment, yeah.
The international series started in 2007. It's nearly 20 years since it began. How has the development of these events changed over that time?
From 2007, when we started in London, the sport is more popular and the world is smaller and people have more access to sport now. So the demand for the game, the demand for the sport is growing. What we want to do is when we bring one of these games, we know that we're bringing it to a fan base that may never come to the United States and see a game in an NFL stadium. We know that they may never come and see Super Bowl. So what we're going to do is give them that experience, allow them to feel what it's like to be at an American football game. But the other unique thing that we really think about is how does the culture of the community weave into that? And how do we do it in a really authentic way?
Everybody can choose to watch something at home, right? But nobody talks about the moments when they're sitting at home. And what our job is to create those moments and just have people enjoy those 3 hours, right? We talk about suspending reality. I don't want you to think about any of this. I don't want you to think about what this all took. I just want you to come, have a good time and leave and talk about it. Yeah, that's what we really want, so.
The Dublin game was a major success in terms of television viewership. It ranked as the second most watched NFL Network international game on record, drawing 7.9 million viewers in the US, a 68% increase from the average for the 2024 international games. The commercial success in both TV viewership and the revenue generated during the week in Dublin has only reinforced the NFL's desire to expand its international schedule. There are rumours that the regular season could be extended to 18, potentially even 19 games to allow for more overseas games so that you'd have one every week. Is that something the NFL's looking to do?
We'll continue to evaluate that. The possibility of an 18-game schedule, that requires more work, that requires alignment and a negotiation with the players' union, but that opportunity to bring more regular season football and in turn the opportunity to play beyond this current number of international games is something that we're certainly considering. From our seat, the opportunity to bring, again, our best product live to more fans in more places is a good thing as we look to become a true global sport property.
In your lifetime, do you think that you'll see an NFL team based overseas, outside of the US?
I think it could happen. Yeah, I think it could happen. Again, it's not imminent. It's not the thing that we're focused on right now. We're focused on expanding those games and in these priority markets, but you feel the passion of the fan base. You see great stadia that have been built custom made for the NFL, like Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So you see those elements come together. There's complexity around that. Competitively, travel, how do those things work? But in the span of hopefully what's a long lifetime, that could be a possibility because those ingredients are there. It just has to be the right time and the right location.
As the NFL's international ambitions grow, so do those of other major sports leagues around the world. The NBA has played multiple regular season games outside the United States, and several competitive soccer matches were held outside their local markets in 2025. If the financial returns remain strong, more are likely to follow. International games will continue to be a priority in the 2026-27 NFL season, with Melbourne scheduled to host the first ever regular season NFL game in Australia. As for the Jaguars, they may not have played in a Super Bowl yet, but they have built something unique in London, a long-term affinity with the city. But the team is not about to move to London. It is spending $1.4 billion to renovate its home, Everbank Stadium, a project it hopes to complete by the start of the 2028 season. And like the Jacksonville Jaguars, who played the long game and are now reaping the benefits, the game in Ireland is not a one-off event. The NFL will be back. It's a long-term investment in these markets aimed at becoming a truly global sports property.